Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Welcome, guys. This is going to be a great episode. And as you can tell, we have our special guest with us. How you doing, El-Java? How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Happy to have you on.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year, insiders. Happy New Year to everybody. Everybody have a good New Year. I know we were hearing about Alex's earlier. I'm sure we'll share that another time. But
we got better things to talk about.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean the New Year's show, man. How could like I'm on the first show of the year, so yeah, man. Yeah, so can't beat that. Yeah, so yeah, my New Year's was good, man. I spent the time with my family, didn't like usually I'm somewhere else, right? And so it's great to actually be able to have just been home, and not didn't go anywhere, didn't make a big old deal, stayed home and bring in the New Year.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I mean, we talk all the time too. It's just years for me being gone for Super Grands on New Year's and stuff. And it's like just these past 3 years of not, it's been crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
but it's been a blessing. So it's been really cool. So
yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, before we get into the rest of the show, again, guys, we are sponsored by the Virtual Fight Tour. We got a big show coming up, VFT Grudge Match, February 4th. This is going to be insane, man. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great show. They're getting a good card together with juniors and adults and senior fighters. And I hope we see some female fighters coming up as well, too. So what do you think, Java? Are you excited about this one?
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, there's some diversity on the roster with respect to who's fighting. You got some grudge matches happening. You got some new people who we don't really know. I really appreciate what the whole thing that Jesse and and folks over at VFT are doing. Keeping the martial arts competition going, being innovative and new. I love it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, you've been live to a couple of them before, right?
Oh yeah. I've been there in the coaching capacity. I've been there as a competitor. I've been there a few times now. Yeah.
Oh, what am I talking about? Of course, man. You made me eat some crow because I bet on you.
I was thinking about that today too. I was like, oh man.
You bet on me or against me?
On you.
My bad.
Yeah. and then he got called out after.
Oh man, whoever was trying to call him out, let me know. I'll get him. All
right, cool.
Oh man. Yeah. So what's the vibe like? Because Alex and I were both talking about we would love to go up for this one, or if not, then in the future.
Right.
What's the vibe like there for a live VFT?
That's awesome. The room is electric. Like they it's performed in a cage. The folks are on the outside. You see all the production behind the scenes, things happening. You see the fighters. It's not like it's like a compact tournament to an extent, right? Because everything is happening in that one space, right? Yeah. And so right outside of the ring itself, you got people either warming up or in their nerves or in their feelings or whatever else is happening outside of that. Yeah. And so yeah, it's electrical. You know what I mean? It's well, I love it.
Okay, what are some of your favorite? Because you've been to a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your favorite VFT moments to date?
Yeah. So I mean, if anything, it's loyal to fam, right? And so one of my biggest moments, or like most memorable, was when my little princess did her thing, right? Like, so she when Tahira fought on VFT. It doesn't necessarily matter who she was fighting against. Just the fact that that Tahira went out there and took care of business, was one of my proudest moments, right? Proud Papa, right? Another, I guess, moment that stands out for me. Again, it's funny how these moments aren't necessarily my personal performance moments, even though I've had some wins in there. The win that Ty and Troy had.
Yeah.
It's All Stars, was I mean, I loved it. It was you see a lot of of nail biters. A lot of can go either way. Oh man, this small adjustment made or missed, would have changed the results, the outcomes, right? And so I absolutely love those moments in VFT. So
yeah, it's awesome. Just the overall vibe is just electric. It's great, and I think too, people that maybe don't watch too much, or even like maybe you have a loved one or family, like they'll sit and watch this with me. Like I've had plenty that sit and watch, like, okay, this is cool, this is different, because it's just that vibe, and that you get from it. So it's pretty cool.
You got the music playing, you got the announcers happening, you've got the introductions and the it is a production. It is a production, and it's entertainment in the way that is moving in a direction that we as sport martial arts, as point fighters, should be moving in.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you think it was going to be like this big when it first started?
And so, listen, I think of the the song "Everything I Do It Big." Jesse's like that, man. Jesse, like if he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it, right? And so I there's no way that I could have imagined that it was gonna be still even active at this point, right? But who would have imagined that COVID would have lasted more than 2-3 months, right? It lasted more than 2-3 years, right? And so for me, seeing how the VFT thing emerged and it took lemons and made lemonade, right? And just seeing the way that it emerged and was able to to keep adjusting. I mean, it made the adjustment once people were back to live events, to do it at as the overall grand champion, because that was something that regular events was missing again, right? It was missing that overall grand champion. And so being creative about how to keep yourself alive, I mean, that really is something that that takes a creative and innovative leader, and Jesse is that, man. You know what I mean? And so I respect it tremendously, and I'm not surprised. If I'm surprised, it's more pleasant surprise.
Awesome.
Yeah, I guess I would echo everything you said about Jesse. I don't know anybody who doesn't like him. I'm sure there's got to be somebody. If everybody likes you, I mean, you got to be some people in there. But I don't really know of anybody out there who thinks ill or talks ill of him. So he's definitely got a lot of the crowd support, amongst the peers.
Right. But, and he's supported as well too. It's not just people supporting him. He's supported for years, and it's cool to see people give that back finally, after years of that. So
big time, like I'm glad you brought that up, because first of all, nobody does anything alone. Like Jesse's got a team around him.
Yeah.
First of all, there are multiple people who are important to making sure that this happens. Not only the financial sponsors, but also like the humans, the people who are behind the scenes, coordinating music and coordinating schedule and coordinating the cameras. And he's got a team of folks. But in addition to the fact that nobody exists as an island to an extent, there's also the fact that you get back the energy that you put out there. Right. Yep. And Jesse has supported people's events for years, whether others knew it or not. Consistently, you see Next Level and the folks with his camp out there. You know what I mean? And so it's great to see that when people have an opportunity to support him and what he's got going on, they're responding in kind. So that's great.
That's awesome. Good stuff. All right, so Java, let's get into you, man. We got already people coming in saying, let's see, Andrew says, "Hey, hi, teammate."
What's going on?
We got Robert saying Java. We got Ty saying Sensei.
Brother.
All right, so let's every interview, or I mean, in some ways it's an interview. In a lot of ways, it's just a conversation. We're just talking. Enjoy what we do. We're just talking. We start different ways. I don't know. Honestly, I think some people though need to know your background. So let's start just where you're from and where you started, or what's your background in martial arts?
Yeah. So I'm originally from the Bronx. born and raised in the Bronx, and started martial arts in the Bronx in the 80s. So yeah, I'm an old head, in the 80s. And so my instructor is a man named Leander Bolo Hardaway. We call him Bolo. So I got my first degree black belt in traditional Shotokan and Sanmuka Jiu-Jitsu in 1990. And then I was at the same time I was also training at a dojo around my block, as if training two styles wasn't enough, right? I was also training at a school that was run by a man named Reno Morales, and Reno is well known throughout in the martial arts world. In my opinion, people call him Pops, right? And so it was an honor to also receive my my first degree black belt from him in Shinjitsu Kaikan, Shotokan, traditional Japanese style in 1992. And so I continued to train, and then continued to compete on the New York circuit. I was a part of a team, and we'll talk about teams later, but I was a part of a team called Fab Five. In Fab Five, it was the original team member. It was a dojo team at first, and then we became a team that started competing nationally. And we used to compete actively against folks like Metro All Stars, and at the time New Breed, or what eventually turned Tower Island. We used to fight against a lot of teams from that New York area, in the early '90s. Until I then when I went off to college in '94, and that's what brought me up to Syracuse, New York. So I'm in Syracuse. I've been in Syracuse for a very long time.
I spent. That's what people think about you. It's like, oh, he's from Syracuse, and they forget where you're originally from. So yeah.
And so, for about 3 years back in about 06 or so, from 06 to 09, I think I did move out to Philly. I worked at Temple University and lived in Philly. So I was in that area for a few years also, but back up here. What folks may not know is that I'm an academic. My profession is I'm a professor at Syracuse University. I run a business incubator for Syracuse University within the city of Syracuse, helping people start and grow businesses, right? And so this that's what I do as a profession, and martial arts is both passion and dual profession, right? And so I own a couple martial arts studios and train and compete actively. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Well, when did the competition? So I didn't know that you did two styles and have two different black belts.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
At this point, I'm a seventh dan in Shotokan, actually. So I'm Kiyoshi El-Java Abdul-Qadir. And so I stayed active in trained in Shotokan. I've done a couple of different martial arts, but those are the styles that I obtained significant rank in. And so you're asking, when did martial arts competition begin?
Yeah, when did that all start?
Yeah.
How?
So like I said, as soon as I became a black belt, I started competing. Like I was a junior when I won my first adult black belt, and so a lot of people do that nowadays too, right? But I was a junior when I won my first adult black belt, and I was competing. In the NASCA tournaments that were in the New York area. And so at that time, some of the tournaments that were NASCA A and AAA rated or whatever, were things like Joyce Santa Maria's tournament, and right, and there were things that Twin Towers was there, and so fortunately, we had a good number of competitors from the New York, New Jersey area, that we didn't have to travel very far to get like high quality competition. You know what I mean? And so
that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, seriously, like it was especially back in that time, there weren't a lot of like. Well, I guess there were independent tournaments, but if you wanted respect, you needed to go compete at a NASCA tournament, right?
Yeah.
So that's I started. I remember I went to U.S. Open. U.S. Open. I'm going to say U.S. Open a couple times in this story, but one of the first NASCAR tournaments that I went to was the U.S. Open. It was with my sensei's sensei, right? And so we went in a bus. He's from Brooklyn. We went for a bus from Brooklyn to Florida and competed in the U.S. Open. It was probably 1990 or something like that. But the most memorable NASCAR, like what I would consider like my entree into NASCAR happened with Jesse. What happened with Jesse Ray, and not only Jesse, Mike Dean and his and their school at the time. What it was essentially, we I would travel with them to Bluegrass, to Kentucky. Ken Eubanks, right? I traveled to Bluegrass way back when, and there was some really interesting things that happened on that trip. I'm going to leave those stories, for maybe for a different conversation. But that's like Bluegrass, probably like 94 or something like that. 93, 94 was the first time I'm competing as an adult in in a World NASCAR event, like somewhere else, and doing teams with Jesse and these guys and stuff like that. Yeah, so.
That's awesome, man.
And then it's interesting because like I said, I did go to college in '94, right? And so while I'm in college, that back then for me, it costed a whole lot of money to travel, right?
Yeah,
and I didn't quite understand the whole the idea of like being picked up on team. Those people talking to me about being on a team, but I was like, I'm on a family team. Like, I'm a Fab Five, Five till I die, right? So I'm a Fab Five, you know what I mean? And so there were folks who were, like, oh, this guy's good, maybe we should consider picking him up and traveling. I'm like, no, man, I'm on Fab Five, and we didn't have any money, but so I'm in college, and to me, like, I needed to focus on school, and so I found out that you could start a student organization. And so I did that, right? And so there was actually a Shotokan. This is a story I don't share often. There was a Shotokan club that's my first week at the university, at Syracuse University, and I started doing forums with them. I started practicing with them, and I'm just like in there training. And then the guy who was a graduate student at the time was like, the guy who was leading the club was like, wait a minute, like I can't teach these people anything. I'm going to be leaving soon. Like, could you just teach? Could you just be the sensei? And in '94, I was like, all right, fine, sounds good to me. I took on leadership of the Shotokan Karate Club, and we put the budget together. We put a traveling team together. Like we were hitting tournaments all up and down, like upstate New York, Buffalo and Rochester, and then into Canada, Toronto, and all of those things. So I'm going 5 and 6 hours away, driving university van, and universities paying for this stuff. So essentially, I'm on a sponsored team, not knowing that I could have been just traveling to like New England Open.
Yeah,
I could have been traveling to DC. Like I'm not even thinking about that. I really was like, but. That those years from '94 to about '98 or '99, like it was a blessing, man, because I got to know some really close friends up here, Carlos Tierney and Nick Kane, and I knew Nick when he was a little baby,
right?
Like it's like literally it's crazy. I'm talking about coming up here in '94, I don't even know if Nick was born when I came up. So I went to the IFMA, which is their tournaments up here. I saw Andrew pop in saying that he saw me in Buffalo often. Yeah, I met a lot of Canadian and upstate New York competitors competing up this way, and so
that's awesome.
That was my back on NASCAR tournament scene event.
Right.
So I gotta rewind. I gotta unpack a little bit. There was a lot to unpack.
There's a lot.
So, but what with the bullet points. So basically, you way for the university to sponsor a karate team.
Listen,
Awesome.
I wasn't listening to that. Those of you who are going to college right now, you need to listen to it.
Yeah.
Like the university sponsor, and it wasn't being slick or nothing. It was like it was okay. We were the Shotokan Karate Club, you know. And because I enjoyed competition, at first I just went to a couple of competitions on my own in Buffalo or Rochester or something like that.
Most people would,
right? And then and because I was teaching the Shotokan Karate class for the Shotokan Karate Club, which are students, our student fee made it so that we were an official student organization. So all I needed to do was put together a budget and tell the university, I want to go to these 4 tournaments this semester. And we're going to bring these 10 students.
Right.
It's going to cost $60 for an entry fee, or if we do it in pre-registration or whatever. And we need these uniforms in order to compete, and this equipment.
Right.
And we would put it in a budget. University decided to do it. Granted, I went to Syracuse University.
Yeah.
So Syracuse University is different from Latin school, but I was able to put that into the budget, and that is what covered the cost of uniforms. It covered the cost of equipment. It covered the cost of travel and hotel. I mean, you can speak to folks like Richie Everett, the dad. Like I would, show up with a Syracuse University check or cash for 10 students competing in his event.
Right.
So essentially, there was no difference in your Shotokan Karate Club than it would be the Syracuse volleyball team or the Syracuse golf club.
Correct.
I can't speak for the volleyball team because they got their pictures up everywhere. so that's a little different. Ain't nobody taking pictures of, but yes,
but they probably have a bigger budget.
Yes.
And have bigger funding than you do.
Yep.
But in a sense, you guys had bills and Syracuse paid them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Fortunately, we were able to, it was the recreation. Yeah, it was crazy. Campus recreation services had that's how my student fee was able to stay active. It was able to take care of a passion that we had, a desire for us to expose students to something that was extracurricular. Listen, the truth is that Shotokan Karate Club was a savior for many people. Because it was an alternative, to participating in activities that they shouldn't be participating in.
Yeah.
It was a way of keeping people physically, mentally, and emotionally strong. It was a support. We know what martial arts does for us, right?
Correct.
So it's a way to be steady about having something in your schedule and so we had people who were brand new to martial arts and never did anything, and people who might have been from another state and did martial arts and decided, look, I want to keep training, and like there's this Shotokan club, let me join with these guys, right? And so I was really, it was a blessing. I remember later in my time when I was a graduate student, I was running a program at the university called Late Night at the Gym. And Late Night at the Gym was an effort on the university's part to offer students healthy alternatives to going out and drinking and stuff like that. And so I remember teaching a kickboxing class or something like that late in midnight, you know what I mean? late night at the gym, I had packs of pieces, like piece of pack. So.
Wow, that's awesome.
How many?
That's
Okay,
so
this is so awesome.
I know it is.
So when you did the late night at the gym classes,
mm-hmm.
and you say like they'd be, how many people did you really have? How many people would be there?
Yeah, first just started off with some of the people who were in our Shotokan club, right, and then we made it so that we like you didn't have to have previous experience to come in. I would just teach kickboxing moves and do some partner drills and stuff like that. We got to the point. I remember at Max we would have like 30 people in and a Wednesday night session. They would then reach out and be like, oh, like this is the guy who teaches the kickboxing class. You think he could do self-defense? And so fraternities and sororities were reaching out to us, like say, hey, could you do self-defense seminar. Like it was awesome. Like my undergraduate experience, I was able to do my martial arts, which is why I wasn't really competing on the national circuit like that. You know, I was doing my martial arts, you know, while I'm
doing well.
Yeah.
Wow,
I gotta think right now. Why wouldn't if I didn't know that this was possible? If I'd have thought about it, like, yeah, of course, I suppose that could have been possible. We think like right now, like 15, 16-year-olds who are just like buddy with guys in the karate schools should be like, yo, let's go start this club at the college. Let's just go. Yep, we're going to college. We're gonna do this. We're going to X school. Let's do it together. And we'll create a freaking team. Oh my gosh, this is cool.
Listen, everybody who I get the chance to talk to about this, I say it. I'm like, yo, listen, when you go to college, make sure you start. And I don't say start your styles club. I actually say you should start a point fighting club. Or one of the things that now for the past couple of years being involved with Waco, you could start a kickboxing club and have this be semi-contact kickboxing, right? And so the mindset about about what how we popularize sport martial arts, what we do point fighting wise, we need to shift the mindset. It can be something that that people feel comfortable just doing. There's a point fighting club. I don't care. It doesn't matter what style you go to. You're in. You can come on Tuesdays and Thursdays. From 7 to 8 p.m. or whatever, and do some point fighting.
I think we really should get to that point where we can. And there's going to be martial arts purists that say, no, you can't do it at this level unless you've been in the 5 years minimum. I'm like, come on now. Right? Because we all teach martial arts.
Yeah.
And if somebody's been in, like 6 months, they might already be fighting. Right?
Yeah.
And we'll put them in fighting at that level. Why not? So because we didn't put a belt on them, big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's do. I think it's fantastic.
It is.
I do think, and maybe this is a segue. I don't know what you think, Jeff, but maybe we talk about like how Waco does it, and they have a really good system, and it looks like they're going to be in the Olympic Games, soon, and they're going to have a system where they got full contact, they got low kick, they got K1, they got light contact, and us as the point fighters.
Yeah.
So
let's just get into that since and then we'll jump back. Don't worry.
You've been involved in Waco Team USA for a number of years now. Well, how many years have you really been involved, even as a participant? Now you're beyond that. I'll let you explain.
Yeah. So the first time I participated in Waco was probably like 06, 07. Okay. 2006 or 2000. I went. It was when it was in Portugal, and so then John Rodriguez was running, the team at the time, and so I went, representing the U.S. in my weight and age category, and but way back when. So, and so I didn't stay consistent with it. What we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a little bit is the structure of Waco. And so every other year is an adult competitive year, right? It's an adult world championship. And so the next time I went back, it was probably 2017.
Okay.
And in 2017, it was in Budapest.
Yeah.
And then again in 2019, and then again in 2021, and then again. So and that's as an adult. But then the junior years in between, because I've got children and because I'm the coach, I was also there. So I would say at least for the last 6 years.
From 2017 on.
Yeah.
Yes, every year.
Not missed.
Yeah. Yes, I have not missed. Outside of the time the juniors were supposed to have
2020,
they were supposed to have it in I want to say it was Serbia, but what they did end up having was they had a continental championship. So they did that's something I want to talk about too. I want to.
All right.
The floor is yours.
All right, the floor is mine. All right, so the structure of competing in Waco for the U.S. right well, in the world advance is every other year is an adult world championship year. Okay, so 2017, 2019, 2021, 2023. This coming year is an adult world championship year. And so if you qualify for Waco Team USA this year as an adult, you get the opportunity to compete in the world championships this year. Right?
Right.
Now, on the opposite year, 2018, 2020, 2022, like those are junior world championship years, right? And so the juniors and cadets and anyone under 18 years old would then have their world championship again, which is look, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I'm a multi-time world champion in a number of leagues.
Right.
Right, in a number of leagues, and in my experience, I'm not shading on anyone, but I'm the quality of the Waco product in the World Championships is just a high quality. You know what I mean? Like it's high quality competition, it's high quality production itself, like professionalism, and so I appreciate that, right? And
so
think
that like when every world sanctioning bodies championships are at their highest, Waco's just another level up.
From in my experience, that's yes. You know what I mean? And I think it's because of the buy-in that it has. The rest of the world looks at it as like they take it seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they take it seriously, and it is it is a prestigious league to be a part of. It's the World Association of Kickboxing Organizations, and so these different countries have kickboxing organizations in them. But Waco is the association of those kickboxing organizations. You know what I mean? Like and so it's not in competition with those other things in those countries. It's just the umbrella of it all. But anyways, what I was saying is that when the adults don't have a world championship, you can still compete in your continental championship. So every year you can compete in Pan American, for example,
which was just in Brazil, right?
Exactly. And so the question was, how do you qualify for Brazil? And so you would have qualified for Brazil by participating in the U.S. national championships, and so essentially, kids and adults can compete in the national championships every year, and can qualify for Waco USA every year. It is just what is at the end of the road, and at the end of the road on odd years, it's an adult world championship and a continent, the Pan Americans. Right. For the junior year on the even year, it's the junior world championships and continental Pan American championships for everyone, right? And so,
So right now they just announced May. Was it May? I want to say 4th.
First weekend in May.
It says 4th through the 7th. I think it's 6th and 7th.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's in Nashville, Tennessee, which. We had Rob on our show before, and I know he had big plans for Nashville and really to make that area, just a great place for an event, and I know he started with it or maybe it's 2 years ago, right, Alex? I think it might have been 2 years ago now. And so now really pushing to have that, but really get the tatami sports really like more involved to make it a big deal, not just a few people that we know that we want to be on the team. Like we want to really make it like a good event.
Yeah. So I want to dispel a myth. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. I want to dispel a myth, right? And so when I think the rumor was that there are people who just kind of like selecting folks to go, but there was a national championships for tatami as well. The national championships for tatami, was held in Kansas City, and folks had the opportunity to go. In fact, each year there were multiple people in each of the divisions, and the folks who won were the people who won, and the folks who win, right? And so it just wasn't along with the ring sports. So tatami that's another terminology wise. We want to be familiar with what's happening too, right? And so we've got ring sports and we've got tatami, you know, and ring sports is run by Rob, and he does he has his referees and his
Rob Zabilski.
Yeah, Rob Zabilski. Thank you. But he's also the president of WACO USA, which includes ring sports and tatami. And so tatami, up until last year, was just always held separately, and just it was a separate event from the ring sports event. And this last year and this year, the goal is to bring them together under one roof, to have everyone go and not only go and try out for the team at the same event, but also maybe even get to know people who are in ring. The tatami folks, getting to know the people in ring, and the ring folks getting to know folks in tatami and stuff like that. So,
well, it also makes it a little interesting. I feel like it should under be one umbrella. And we keep talking about how unifying WACO is and how well they produce things, and their production is fantastic. But if you look at the other countries, they'll have point fighters that will do point fighting and that will do like light contact, and some of them may do full contact. Right. But to do you could qualify for that in other countries, and you might just do one event to do that. But the way it was structured previously, you go to two different national qualifiers, which seems a little backward.
Clarification. And so you cannot do ring and tatami at the same national. No, you cannot do ring sport and tatami at the same world championship event.
Really?
You cannot. And so
why is that?
First, I'm not going to answer the why is that. I'm going to continue to talk, right? And so tatami, right? Tatami includes what we would consider continuous, right? Contact. So it continues. Tatami is point fighting, low kick, and continuous. All right. Contact, right. And so one of the events, you're able to just continuously do your point fighting moves. And so many point fighters are used to doing what we would consider continuous. And in NBL, they just called it continuous, right, Jeff? So we have folks like Laco, who he himself and his competitors, they were NBL folks. They transitioned well. Their juniors transitioned well when they tried out for and they competed for point fighting and continuous, right?
As well as low kick as well, exactly. Right?
Well, kick light.
Yeah, kick light. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's light contact, kick light, and point fight, semi contact, right? And so those are the three for tatami, and you can do all three of those. You can kick to the legs in one. You can choose to be continuous and kick to the legs, and that's all you're doing. Or you can choose to continuous, no kicks to the legs, just regular continuous, or you can do regular point fighting. That's the way that we call point fighting, right? And that's all happening on tatami. And when we had qualifiers before, and when we have a qualifier now, you can try out for those three things and do those three things if you win first place for an adult, or if you win first and second as a junior, you will be the representative. That's the other thing. You have, in order to represent the country as an adult, you have to win first place at the national championship.
No silver. Silver cannot go.
First place. First. Silver can go to the continental championship.
Okay.
Right? So silver could have went to Brazil. Right.
Okay. So gold and silver can go to continental, but only gold.
Only gold is going to the world championship.
Wow.
Exactly. Which is again
prestige.
Yeah, exactly. It's prestigious, man, and so competitive, and so but definitely worth it when you're able to say you're a WACO world champion. And, anyway, so there's that, and then ring sports is that there's 3 events in that. You know what I mean? And so you can't. So again, I wanted to dispel it. It did make
good
sense
because I thought you could. That was good. That's good that you did that.
Yeah.
No, because I think I think Chris had talked about that in the past too. When he went, he wasn't allowed to do that if he was doing something else. Like I think they needed him to do weapons and for him to do weapons, he could only do either continuous or the kick light, but not the full contact.
Right.
As well. I think he had talked about.
Ring sport is separate from tatami, and weapons and creative forms. That's all part of tatami as well.
Tatami. Yep.
That's all. So you can do all of the tatami. If you qualified for them, you can do all of the tatami events.
Right. And there's 4 now. There's 4 divisions for forms of weapons, I believe. Mm-hmm. I think it's a creative, and then there's a musical for forms, and then a creative and musical for weapons. In the past,
there's a lot more forms that are being put in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. But I got a question. Why do we use the term tatami?
Yeah, I mean,
I've never really understood that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the World Association of Kickboxing Organizations, and everybody around the world speak different languages, right? And so they speak different languages. They call that mat a tatami in other places. You know what I mean? And so we have to adopt the language that is being used. Awesome. That's the tatami.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get.
I never even knew that term until I did my first Waco event. I'm like, what is this? Tatami what?
The first time I came across it, I think it was on Bloodsport.
Right.
Yeah, it was like the tatami.
Yeah.
Tatami.
Yeah, tatami. That's right. Yeah.
That's right. Let's go back to 1990.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh
so,
man.
Yeah. Other people call it tatami, and that's in order to have a common language, tatami with the IOC.
So yeah, he's got a question here. Will they let tatami sports into the Olympics, or is it only focused on he says kickboxing side, but really he means ring sports side?
Yeah, great. Yeah, exactly. Again, kickboxing and other places they consider point fighting kickboxing also. And so there's still conversations happening. And so it's not as if tatami is left out of the conversation. Like tatami is very much a part of the, like, it's when they're saying kickboxing, they're including tatami.
Right.
So in the US, when we hear kickboxing, we're thinking ring sports. So it's kickboxing is in the world championships. Tatami is kickboxing.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's something that it's just a culture difference, and that's something that people don't that we have differently, that we have to really, and I think we're trying to is get that culture difference that our sport is kickboxing, okay? Yeah. And it's different. It's not, well, that's kickboxing, that's different. No, it's all kickboxing, and there's different styles of kickboxing that we're doing, and we are part of that.
That's right. So when they're saying kickboxing is in the Olympics, it's not like, oh, will point fighting be there? Yes, it is, yes, yeah, because it is considered kickboxing.
Awesome.
I mean, here's what I love so much about this. Yeah, Jesse's right. Java is the man.
Yeah.
You're so passionate about this, and I love it, right? So, and I talk to Rob, I don't know, sometimes 2-3 times a week, right? Because I just happen to be at his school. And he's got a pretty awesome space. He's got a pretty big space. But anyway, and he talks about you like all the time, right? So he keeps telling me, he's like, oh yeah, it looks like we're gonna get pushed through. Looks like kickboxing is gonna be one of the 4 selected. And so he feels pretty confidently that it's got a pretty good shot to make it for 2028. Yeah. 2028's in LA, right? Is that where 2028 is?
I don't know. I don't speak about things I don't know about.
It's a smart way to be. Right.
It's a good way to be.
So now you're involved. You have first we talked about your involvement was on a competitive side, and then now since 2017 you were competing, coaching, and then now your title's a little bit bigger now.
Yeah.
Right. So now you're not just coaching; you're on a bigger, like a board of directors. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. I'm on the board of directors for Waco. USA.
Awesome. Good stuff. See, that's a good direction that we need. I like that we have a board of directors. You know what I mean? Like multiple different people and being involved. What's the biggest change you feel that's gonna happen, or direction?
I want to say that I'm gonna take my hat off to the people who ran it in the past, man. You know, because they are the torch bearers. You know what I mean? Like they are the torch bearers, and so I think that there's an attempt being made, you know, to bring our sport to the level of that where it exists in other countries. I mean, when we go to world championships chip events, their presidents, they're wearing suits and ties and they're like presenting awards in a professional manner, and it's a professional event. You know what I mean? Their referees are dressed in the same uniforms and the ties and the shoes. You know, like if there's a way that you have to conduct yourself, even how you are supposed to point or disagree with a point, right? And the coaches need to show up, wearing a jumpsuit that's affiliated with, at the World Championship events anyway, that's affiliated with your country, but where you can't just wear jeans and flip flops or whatever. You've got to conduct yourself in a professional manner, all the way up and down, the organization, right? And I want to say that this where the direction that we're heading in is in that direction. It's bringing the U.S. Back in line with the rest of the world with respect to that professionalism.
Love it. That's great. Man, I mean, we've hit all kinds of things, and I feel like you're schooling a lot of us on stuff that I think are very important right now, and stuff that we don't really talk about a lot. The professionalism, I think everyone kind of brings up, but they don't really give a way of how to do it. You know what I mean? Say, we just got to be more professional. Okay, well, here's a code. Here's a book. Here's a system of how to do it. And then we had the gym of the college thing, man. That was awesome.
I can't even believe that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
the bomb you dropped on the sport karate world in the most awesome way.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, Richard says we're like the Wild West over here. It kind of is. We are kind of like the Wild West in the U.S.
And it's okay. Like, listen, it is what it is. We can bring ourselves, up to speed with it. Like, we have the professionals, man. Like, look, tell me what martial artist who doesn't also carry themselves in a professional way, in some capacity, right? In your life, you're either teaching somebody or running a business somewhere else or doing, you're communicating. Right, exactly. Can't we all just get along?
That's right. All right, so Java, let's go a little bit the other way, and I'm trying to think the best way to hit some of your moments and your big moments in your career and just fun times. Let's talk about some of the teams, and you talked about some of your local teams, but what was like the first, I guess, national level team, or that kind of got you back into it after college?
Yeah. So funny story, right? I said I was going to talk about the U.S. Open. One year I was teaching, and I was a graduate student, and one of the students was from Queens, and he was talking about this thing on the internet, right? And the internet wasn't big, like this thing on the internet, and this is the thing, it's a sportkaratevideo.com, and he's telling me you could go and
Jamie Craven's website.
That's crazy, yo. He was like, it's this thing, and you can find these videos, and there's these people doing, these NASCAR tournaments, and they're the best in the world. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And I was like, I wonder if some of my old friends are still competing in NASCAR. So I was, he's like, yeah, there's this guy named Johnny Tension. He's amazing. There's this guy named Raymond Daniels. I was like, that's funny. That's cool. Johnny's my man. Like he's like, you don't know Johnny Tension. You don't know Jesse Ray. And I was like, oh man. I'm sitting there like, oh, this guy's like, yeah, like these guys these are people who I grew up with. And then I was like, I was having a midlife crisis. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to a tournament. I'm gonna go to a NASCAR tournament, because at that point, again, I said I'm in graduate school, so now I had a little bit of money, and I understood that.
What year is this at this point?
What was that?
What year is it at this point?
This is probably 2000. No, this is 2001. I got married.
2014.
Yeah, what's that?
Did you say 2014? 2001. Okay. 2001. That makes more sense.
Yeah. So this is 2001, because I was married in 2000, and I had a daughter in 2000. She was born in 2001, and then maybe she was, anyway, she was born, right? And then I told my wife, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the U.S. Open. Because again, my student is telling me, hey, you don't know these guys. Like, oh, I know these guys. These are my friends. Anyway, so I get on a plane and I go, like, my wife think I'm crazy. She's like, yo, you crazy. Anyway, so I go out to the U.S. Open. I show up and got my hotel that day. I show up and the first person I see is Mike Simmons.
Okay. Yeah.
So
shout out to Mike Simmons.
He's the first. I walk in the tournament. The first person I see is Mike Simmons. In fact, let me back up. The first person I saw was Bobby Harris.
Bobby Harris.
Some of you guys might know him. He's at the check-in for the hotel. He's like, yo, it's crazy, Java. I haven't seen you in years. I was like, yeah, it's crazy. You going to the tournament? He was like, what tournament? He wasn't even there for the U.S. Open. He was just there for Disney World.
Stop.
Which is crazy. I haven't seen him in 10 years, and then I see him, and he's there for Disney World. But anyway, so he didn't know U.S. Open was happening. But then I go in, and the next person I see is Mike Simmons. So he's like, oh God, Java, oh, it's crazy. My brother, look, this is crazy. So that's my Mike Simmons impression. So he's like, oh, yo, you don't know. He's introducing people. He's like, yo, this is Java, man. He's crazy. He was like, apparently I was a legend or something.
I can picture him right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so he's like, yo, this is Java, man. He's like amazing. He was my friend from way back because Mike and I have a history together. And he was, on that Fab Five team. I gave him an opportunity to compete with us then. And so he was hyped to see me at this event. And so now it's time for the division. And it was him, and he introduced me to Eric Spring.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, watch. And so they're watching me fight. And the first thing I do, I'm moving around and I did a cartwheel. Bang! Hit the guy with a cartwheel. And they were like, no point. And I was like, moving around, cartwheel, pow, again, no point. I'm like, yo, why are they not giving me a point? You can't do cartwheels at that time. And so I didn't quite understand the rules, right, of that have changed in NASCAR.
Yeah.
And so this is it was very telling because Mike went from being all excited to be like, oh, but turns out I did pretty well. I did win that. I won my division. And Mike was like, yo, listen, I am putting together a team. And we want to compete in nationally again. In my mind, I'm Fab Five till I die, right? But so Mike is like, yo, I'm putting together a team, and I would really love for you to be a part of it. It'll be right now. It'll be me, you, and this guy Eric Spring, and we're gonna hit the NASCAR circuit. We're gonna go to all of the NASCAR tournaments next year. And I was like, all right, cool. I believe it when I see it, right? I was like, all right, cool, yep, cool. Mike was a man of his word, though. He was like, listen, now I'm gonna go up to Syracuse, and if you don't know, New York City is about 4.5 hours from Syracuse. From Syracuse. Okay? And people in New York City swear that it's 9.5 hours away from Syracuse, And so they think that you way up there somewhere, and so when Mike said to me, "Oh, listen, I'm gonna come up to train with you." During, because at the time, I guess the first tournament that was going to happen was AKA in January. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to come train with you, between now and then. And I'd love to see what you do and all the stuff. And I was like, all right, sounds good, Mike. Believe it when I see it. And man, he drove through the snow and, came up to Syracuse and was training in my spot at Syracuse University. And I was like, yo, that's what's up, man. Like, I was like, all right, he was a man of his word. He came and we was training, and then we started, we got ready for 2002. And we started off, that's when I got back, entered the NASCAR circuit again. And that's, that was the rest is history.
What was the name of that team? What was the name of that? I've seen pictures. I've never seen
Element National Karate Team.
Full Element. All right.
Full Element.
Oh yeah.
Full Element.
You guys have like the black and silver, the black, white, and silver, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so
that was a pretty dope. That was a pretty dope squad.
I think we were dope. So we used to go against NK, like Ferruzzi and you guys, like before.
Yep. We had some matches. That's right.
Yeah, we had some matches. You know what I mean? We had some matches. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, I rocked with Full Element for a few years, and then at one time at Twin Towers, like this was like Full Element kind of ran its life, ran its life, and then Garth Binns approaches me and was like, "Yo, listen, so Garth put together Victory during the time that I left, like when I left for college, and when I left for college, there was a vacuum for my little brothers and little dojo brothers and sisters who and people who were just younger than me." Who were on Fat Five or like in waiting, and one of those people there is a gentleman named Tariq Seegers. So Tariq Seegers, who many people know as the Matrix, is my little dojo brother, right? Okay. And so he's like I taught that man how to tie his white belt, he's my dojo brother, you know what I mean? And but he became like the Matrix. When I was in college, you know, and so he was one of the first people like on Victory, and some of the people who were on Victory at the time were people who we used to compete against in that New York, New Jersey area, like Ninja and Rajan, and the folks from Double Dose, the folks from the folks from Ninja University, which we call Sudden Impact. So Sudden Impact and Fab Five to an extent kind of combined, and with some Jack Felton flair and so on. It created Victory. And so 1 year at the Twin Towers, Garth comes to me and is like, "Yo, listen, my brother's gonna fight." And he's supposed to fight teams, him, my friend, my student Sam, and we were going to have another person who was going to compete, and they were going to go against Next Level in a special match,
like a set match.
Yeah, set match. He's like, "Yo, could you step in?" And I was like, "Yo, all right, I'm down," And so it was me, Sam Simeon, and Troy Binns. And we went against the folks from Next Level. I want to say it was. I know I fought Frank Jones, Kodak, and man, I'm sorry, I forget the third, but yeah, probably Sheldon. You're right.
Yeah, that makes sense around the time. Yeah.
And so the chemistry that we had. That was crazy. I remember. I'm sorry, Sam, if you're listening. I'm telling you, he was fighting. He just kept fighting off the stage. He fell off the stage and he was still fighting. The chemistry we had, built relationships, built a bond that will never be broken. Bro. You know what I mean? And so that's that Victory squad. Was tough. It was tight, and so Marielle Elliott was down at the time. We had a solid group and that's when we started doing some more national or international type events, and so that's
So what time are we at? Like 3, 4, 5, 6?
Yeah, we're probably around 5 and 6. 2005.
Yeah. I mean, around that time, you guys just had like this level of cool. You guys were like the cool team.
Yeah,
you really were, right? And shout out to Sam Simeon, man. That guy. Yeah. Ross Cook and I did a pickup team with Sam Simeon one time. Totally caught this sailor off, because he's a sailor, right? Totally caught him off guard. He's like, "Oh man, I didn't even bring my gear in here," and I'm like, "Well, just go get it, right?" I fight tight teams with that guy again. That guy's super cool. But no, you guys
Yeah.
did. You guys had like this level of cool. And I don't know what I mean. Obviously, the victory uniforms, the way Garth and Jerry had the rec suits and they designed them, they were super cool. I think they always had like the level up. Everybody had a rec suit. Victory always had the better ones, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys had nicknames,
Yeah,
right? Off
man.
the bat, super cool the way you guys had it. Did you had a nickname? Didn't you have a nickname on
My
yours?
name is Java.
Well,
You didn't have a nickname?
Java.
Java.
All right.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of a nickname too, you know, Java, 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 you know. But
Yo, this is the thing. I have nicknames that have been given to me.
Okay,
And I don't
what are
share
they?
those. No.
okay,
Yeah. And so no, like my mama. It's like, you know, mama named Clay. I'm gonna call her Clay. No, it's not. My mama named me Java. My mama named me Java. You gonna call me Java?
I like it. I like it. Oh man. So Java, and that's kind of stuck with that core group that you had, because you stuck with Victory for a while, and that went into you and some of those same guys into what was R2L. That was later on, I guess,
Yeah.
2012, 13, 14. You know,
that story is for another time, brother.
yeah. Oh, I know. That's a whole one. I know.
You can offline that, but the smooth transition is if you can remember, you know, like around that 10, 11 time frame, you know, we were competing on a couple of different circuits. You know what I mean? And we were absolutely killing it on the NBL circuit as a team.
Yeah.
You know, we were killing it on the NASCAR. And so that year, you know, we were kind of set to, you know, to be, in my opinion anyway, one of the top teams for NASCAR and the top team for NBL. You know,
Right.
We won AKA. And we won the first national event up in SMAC in the nationals, like that same year.
Same time,
yeah. And so yeah. With that said, we transitioned to you know, like a phoenix, into R2L, and refused to lose, right? And so with R2L, I kind of took a little step back from NASCAR stuff. I was doing some kickboxing. I don't know if you guys know this, but I did some full contact kickboxing. So I became, you know, state and national kickboxing champion. I did, you know, I did that.
Didn't, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise. Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me. I mean, dude, you got a certain level of jackitude to you anyway. That like, if you'd be like, yeah, I went, and then I shed down to like 164 pounds, and be like, what? Because you walk around, you're a heavyweight. What do you walk around at?
195, 200, like easy. Yeah. Easy. And so, yeah, man. Like then I started doing NBL stuff more often, and I mean, it was awesome to do that. I want to say, because I kind of grew up knowing about NBL because, like, again, what my like.
Area,
not just the area, the time frame that I was around, NASCAR and NBL were still together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So I witnessed the creation of NBL. You know what I mean? And I knew of people like Jerry Fontanez going upstate, 9 hours away, you know, and winning the world championship up in Buffalo. You know what I mean? And stuff like that, right? And so you know, it was talked about, but and then being in Syracuse, it was the league that Carlos Tierney fought on, and then Nick Kane competed on, and stuff like that, right? And so so I was familiar with it, but I didn't really do it like that. I didn't really do that. I mean, a week was a long time, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So I went to NBL events, but I didn't really go to the World Championships really until I was on R2, you know. And then and so at that time, you know, it was a blessing, man. I loved bringing like that time was when Yakub was competing. Yeah. And so I was able to expose my students to that level of competition, and it was a great time for him. He loved the competitive atmosphere. I needed to compete to kind of show him that I know what I'm talking about, right? So that our strategies work, right? And so that was great to witness his star kind of shine for a bit, right? And so man, I did the NBL thing. And,
yeah, that was awesome.
And then Hayabusa.
Right, yeah, that's right. Hayabusa, that's right.
We were all teammates at one point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it turned into alliance, and then yeah, man, I cannot tell you how much of a blessing it was to be able to be a member of Top 10 Team USA and be able to compete on the same team as my children, man.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, man.
Right? I mean, like people are trying, like LeBron trying to do that now, right? Like, so,
right.
Like, people, like people want to be able to do their sport and compete at the highest level. And I got my kids with me too. Like, and they ain't on the team because they're my kids. They nice.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody's saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when it comes down to it, they earn their own way on that, right? And so it's great to be able to enjoy that, to travel and compete, and and what I'm really passionate about is to be able to share, with my teammates, right? The Ties and the Jadens and the Latonas of the world. You know what I mean? Like it's a blessing to like, oh, Mason, Boomba, like it's just great to see the level of talent that we have in our sport, and to be involved in some way in being able to help guide that or to help support folks with in any way. Like it's an honor to do that right now.
Yeah. All right. So Java, we talked a few weeks ago about mixed teams, kind of coming back. There's got to be a chance sometime that you and your daughter do mixed teams together. That has to happen sometime soon, right?
If they have an event where mixed teams is happening, we'll do that tomorrow.
That's right.
Like,
it has to happen. Yeah.
Look, so that's one of those. It's not a question. You know what I mean? Like if they have an event that, like, I'd love. Come on, man.
I mean, I know. Like, think of that. Like, that's just awesome. I mean, that's been one of my things. Is for me with my black belts. A lot of is trying to say, all right, I've competed with my students. But again, competing with your kids, that's a whole another thing, man. It's awesome.
I love it. Yes, sir.
That's it. I gotta envy you in that. My daughter's so young. She's gonna be 6 soon, so it's like she's young. Obviously, we got a decade plus before something like that could possibly be, and at that point, I might not walk. But I just gotta say, like, I got a chance to compete with my brother, which your family members. It's a super cool thing, but I don't think there could be anything like competing with your kids. That's amazing. Speaking of competing in teams, we just got done talking about, you've been on so many teams.
Yeah.
Tons of talent on your teams. Let's just do a little fantasy team. Let's see if we can make one up. How about this? You got to have a team of 5 people, of the people you've been on a team with. You're one of them. Who are the other 4 people you pick to be on your team with you? Picking the people you've been on a team with.
Right. Dylan.
But be serious though, because you've had a lot of guys. Let's see if we can name a few. All right.
Yeah. No. All right. Go. Like so. What I'll do is I'm gonna be honest. It sounds political like crazy, but the team I'm on right now, I love them.
If you were to say that, if you were to say like, I'm taking Tyreek, I wouldn't sniff it.
I'm taking Ty. I'm taking Troy. I'm taking Enrique. You know what I mean? Like if I'm taking me, and if we needed to add one more, some huge Austrian with crazy long legs, let's go ahead and add him.
Okay, let's wait a second. So because that's legit. So let's think of that. You got Roman, you, Ty, Troy, and Enrique.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Hang on, though. You've been teammates with a guy
Go.
who's pretty freaking good. You really gonna leave Jason Borelli off your team?
Oh, all right. So check this out. I was only on a team with him for a split second, and I didn't, like. And if I were going to include, Jay, yes. And so I would probably take out Roman for Jay, honestly. You know, I honestly,
I can't sniff at that.
Yo,
Jason's the greatest kicker that God made.
Yo, listen, like he's like, I want to say, like, when I was in Philly during that little time period, he was a breath of fresh air, man. He kept some air in my lungs, man. I loved having Jay both as a competitor, like competing against, and as a colleague, man. As his son and my son are the same age, and so we we're going through
That's
that,
cool.
like growing the kids together and stuff like that. It's a beautiful thing, man. Yes.
So cool.
And so, but I love the team I'm on, man.
I love it.
Okay, here's another question that I've asked some of the the cool guys. Like, I'll say us. I feel like I'm a little cool if I'm amongst cool people. But let's be honest, though. You talked about like when you really first started and you hit the national scene at that level, right? When you first are now, I'm at that level now. You're right. You're here because we all had it. Who was the first person to just bust your ass? And you were like, "Holy shit! I guess I'm here."
And so the thing is, I wasn't ever surprised by anything, right? I wasn't ever surprised by anything. When I was competing, whether I was competing at 18 plus or 30 plus or 35, but whatever I was competing at, I felt like I was gonna be at least in first and second every single time, right? And competing for grands most of the time. And so when we're talking the time frame that I was in Syracuse, Trevor Nash was one of those first people who was up there, that I was just cleaning, and I run into Trevor. You know what I mean? When we talk about the time when I got to NASCAR, I arrived back on the scene at a time when Ross became an adult, right? Right. And so every time if I'm in his division, like we're fighting for first and second. If we're in two separate divisions, we're fighting for for runoffs or something like that, right? And so I ran into Ross, right? As I got older, the person who I saw, forget about him. I guess I want to say from that 2004 to 2006 time period, I lost to Ray a couple times in that time frame, right? When I was in the 30s, when I was in my 30s, I ran into Jay a couple times. And so there's not a person who would be a surprise on that list. You know what I mean?
You got dubs against Jay too.
I got dubs against each of the people I mentioned.
Yeah.
So it's not like So my thing is like I wasn't surprised at the fact that when I lose, it was to that person. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it didn't because you asked who was that person who kind of like let me know like nah you're not that guy anymore. You know what I mean? Like no, it made sense that was the guy who I lost to. You know?
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's good, man. See, I learned so many things. This is just a cool. Please make this the first, not the only time you're on Inside Scoop.
Yeah, exactly. We got so much to talk about.
You guys, you got to invite me.
Don't worry. We got to do this again because there's more that we can dig into and talk more in depth about. You were a big part of me as a promoter as well. Just you won my tournament so many times and forums, fighting, the seniors, even you did did it all, man.
18
So
plus, 35 plus,
35 plus, man.
teams.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So thank you so much, man. This has been like so much fun. And thank you for letting us hear more about just things that maybe we weren't thinking about. The next level with sport martial arts, the next level with Waco, and Top 10 USA. What would you like to finish with? What would you like to tell everyone about before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like as you mentioned, the Waco National Championships is happening in May, that weekend of the 6th and 7th. And if you were interested in doing Waco and understanding what we're about, get involved. Look, we like Waco could benefit from having referees. There's a referee training and certification. We could benefit from having our coach. Like if you want to be a coach, for at an event, you can get a coach's certification. You know what I mean? There's a model that exists already, and so we don't have to be running around. Feel free if I said anything here today that you thought was beneficial and you want to pull the thread on a little bit, you want to pick my brain or ask a question, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always open to have those conversations with you guys, and so that's pretty much it, man. Look, keep training, keep doing what you guys are doing. I have so much respect for what you guys in the martial arts news network, you guys are killing it, because we really need to to bring professionalism. I don't even want to say back. We need to bring professionalism to what we do as a sport, man. There are kids who look up to us. There are kids who and adults, who can really utilize what we do for our passion. They can utilize this as a stepping stone. I mean,
awesome.
There are other things that we can talk about the next time.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to now, man.
Oh yeah. One little thing. So, Waco Worlds is Portugal this year for adults, right?
Don't get me lying. I don't talk about things.
You don't know. Yeah, that's right. You don't talk about things you don't know. All right, I got you. All right.
One way to be.
Yes,
man. This was fun.
This
has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss.
I'm El-Java.
Java.
Peace.